So this exercise is our kickstand hinge and what we want to feel and what we want to avoid, as well as adding in the kickstand taps in the hinge position isometrically and how to breathe through that and where we want our weight position. So ideally we do this one barefoot. However, if we're short on time or if we're in a training environment and we just got to go, this is part of a warm-up most of the time, unless you've been instructed that this is your exercise for now. But what we want to focus on first is just finding our balance in that forefoot, because most people, when they're going to go into a kickstand hinge, they're going to get into this position, they're going to start shifting their weight backwards, and then they're going to go, their whole center of gravity and center of mass is going to start to move back with that. And you see from the side, right, like if I'm going and I'm just going to shift my center of mass back here because I trust this back foot for stability more, I've got this negative shin angle and I put everything into my lower back, right? And so the goal with this is that we're developing the hinge, we're developing this ability for us to get into the posterior part of this hip space by being able to stretch that glute under tension, and internally rotate that hip capsule and then externally rotate around that hip. So we want to avoid all of the common cheats and compensation patterns that most people develop in this. So finding your balance first, we want to be over this front leg. Key component when it comes to all hinging is where is your pressure in your foot and where is our knee. Our knee always stays softly bent. If you're looking straight down, it's a soft bend directly over the midfoot or where the laces on the shoe are, and then your foot pressure is just evenly distributed. Big toe is pushing down and the heel is pushing down. We're trying to create this dome of the foot, right? We don't want to be collapsed and dropping across. That tells me, hey, you're really relying on your adductor, your inside capsule of the hip to do everything. You are not getting stretch here, and you're gonna cheat into the lower back. We're gonna laterally bend a ton. We're gonna get a pinchy SI joint. We're also gonna compress this rib cage on this side. We got bigger problems that we have to regress away from the kickstand hinge in order to solve. So right here, soft bend in that knee. Just give yourself a little couple of taps right there just to make sure, like, yeah, I'm over this foot. My balance is over this foot. I'm nice and tall. I want to think pulling my head out of my spine and pulling my tailbone out of my spine, right? So I'm trying to pull in two separate directions. That's creating this length in the spine. We want to be tall. We are not trying to bend and round here. If that's the case, you're supposed to be getting a little ER stretch in the hip when we hinge. And if you round that torso, you try to get the chest into the ground to fake like you're getting further, then you aren't actually stretching the glute. You are stealing ER from the spine. And again, another problem, we got to regress. We got to train out of that before we can get back into this. So soft bend in the knee, tall spinal posture, right? I like going one hand on the hip here just to feel the glute stretch. The other hand, fingertips pushing into that groin, right? And then keeping that tall spine, we want to leave that knee bent over the foot, keeping that arch in the foot and that pressure, and then making sure we are still staying nice and tall in the posture. And then you get to that hinge point, which however far it is, it doesn't matter. You'll feel this stretching, you'll feel a little tension here. You may feel pressure in the calf and in the foot, that's fine. And we just get to that hinge point, we try to maintain that tall position, tailbone this way, head going that way. And then we hold. If it says go through reps, we go through reps first, and we're pushing the ground away. Notice this is just a kickstand. I am not using my back foot to help me do this motion at all. And then when we get to our last rep, we want to maintain that posture, and then we kickstand for whatever the designated amount of time is. And we make sure we are not rotating our pelvis, rotating our torso anyway. That is our kickstand hinges with toe taps.